for a different items. For example, these are generally micro data. Most cases these are generally micro level data. Now, for example, you want to take, you want to do a survey, and you are surveying in here. Say here we are going to do survey. Different people. So right now you want to do survey of household. So household, how many members, where they live, basic age, number of children, number of male, number of female, one particular area, one particular time, or percentage. Right? So another kind of a data, apart from cross-sectional data, what we understand is the time series. Now these are basically the macroeconomic data. Time series data means that here it is just the reverse. And here you are trying to get one particular information or one particular item at a different point of time. Right? Or a different point of time. Just the reverse of the process. So different point of time means, for example, you try to know the GDP, say country's GDP, right? So GDP this year and the last 50 years. You are trying to get the same data for a different time period. That's what we call the time series. It could be yearly. It could be yearly, it could be monthly, it could be daily, it could be per second, it could be every minute, it could be anything, right? So, one particular item, but at different point of time. Then it becomes a time series data. Then there is another kind of data is available, which is, we call panel data. What is panel data? If we club these two time series data and cross-section data together, then it becomes a panel. If you club these two, it will become a panel. That means it have different items, different time frame. You club these two, that becomes a panel. Correct? So we don't. This is very important. Please go on. Very basic thing what I do is that I never carry my phone whenever I take my class. Never ever. That's what I do. And this is the first tool in my class. Whatever I do anyway. And those still I will carry. Where is that? So the panel data is what if you plug this tool, that becomes the panel data. Now you have three different kind of data. Now, based on that, you can think about it, what is your objective, what you want to do, what you want to focus, what kind of data set you have. Based on your objective, you find out your tool that I'm going to use this to focus this. So that should be your always objective by conducting any kind of research, any kind of thing what you do. The idea is to first you need to comprehend and understand what kind of data set you're using. So the basic understanding of data starts from here. Very basic. When you start basic understanding for everything, it starts from here. So what is different section or the time series data? Combine these two become a panel. Now, as you know that the research methodologies are endless and you can do it lot many things in the thing. So today we will try to focus. We are not going to try to focus on this, and that too we will try to focus on some very small area of time series so that you can at least understand something. Now. Let's focus on this. We have a different kind of data set. Today we will focus something on this and then build on that some basic understanding. Okay. Now, before getting into it, let me give you a little bit more on time series data. At least if you call some data set is a time series data, then at least few points you should remember before saying this. Okay, this is the time series data. That's something characteristics. First. Important is time interval between, if you are taking a one particular series, the time interval between two data set. For example, if you are taking say GDP. So if you are taking a series, then the time interval between 2 points has to be always equal. It cannot be different. For example, if you are taking the yearly data, all the points has to be yearly. You cannot suddenly bring our quarterly data in. Right, so the time interval from first point to the second point, the distance is always going to be constant. It's not going to be changed. That's the first most important thing. Otherwise, we cannot work on time series. Okay, so that's one thing. Second is all observations are dependent. Now here is the concept which changes in the time series. Now what you learn in regression on dependent time series is a very funny thing. All are dependent. It's not the one independent and all dependent. So if you take a one series, that also dependent, that also become independent. If you take two series, all independent and dependent, all are dependent. So every series is dependent on itself. Every two series is dependent on itself. I'll come back to it a little bit more to explain that. So in time series, you will find this particular thing that mostly the time series, that's why it's a time series, all are dependent. If you think about it in a basic way, basic understanding you should start that is all data in time series, all are dependent. So if you take one particular series, last year would depend on this, another year, all are dependent. So we know that independent, dependent. You have already gone through this workshop. So all are dependent. As I told you, the interval cannot be mixed. All has to be constant, right? And another and most important is that there should not be any missing data. Gap, there should not be any gap. If there is a gap, then there's a break in the time, so you cannot use that data. So you have to use wherever the break is, that is your data. So you cannot have any break in time system. That's then you won't get much information. That's the problem we have. So if you have say 50 years data, say suddenly at 20 years there is a data missing, you are not getting it. So you are actually trying to predict based on 20 years data. So your information is less, you are focusing to be able. That's what we want more and more information to focus on this, and therefore we always require better, longer, and more information to build on something, and that's why we always want more information to that, right? So even if it's that more information, so what we require that in a time series you always remember that there should not be any missing data to work. It has to be a complete set of data independently, otherwise you cannot generally supposed to use that, right? Because you cannot run it, it's very simple. So because there's a gap, so the time breaks, because of the time you are taking it, so you break, then you have to take only up to that data. So with that break data you cannot predict or you cannot focus very well. So therefore this is the most basic characteristics what you must have time system. Right? So remember that while before getting into it in time series. So if you know this and if you have a time series, so our basic objective is what? Is to focus. If I know that our basic objective is to focus, then the idea is how do you focus? It's only possible when you know, because all are dependent, remember? So when you know the past information, so you can forecast in time series only with the help of past information. Right? If you have past information, the more information you have, the better the focus you can do. Very simple thing, right? The more information I have, if I have more and more information, my idea of something will be much better. And therefore, if you have more information or more data set, you will be able to better predict something. Your focus will be much more better. So the idea would be that I can focus only when I have more information and only when I can extract more information from there. If I can extract more information from my past, then only it is possible that I can actually predict or focus something better. So the first idea in a time series is that we need to extract the past information, right? More and more from that data set. And other most important part, based on that only we need to focus on the same information, whatever we have. So our objective becomes this. What are we trying? We are trying that I have a series, and from there I have more information, then I need to extract the information so that I can predict. This is what the time series does. Very simple. So the more information you have, less break you have, the longer the series is, the better your focus. This is what the basic idea of time series. You don't have to think much beyond that. Getting into nitty-gritty is different. Just have this concept as more than anything. So this is what you have to do, right? Because the time series. Now the question is how to extract information from a series. Now that's a different set of once again a class. Like it requires another 2 hours of discussion how to extract the information. But before getting into it, just to give you small information on it, that what are the things in a time series data you can have, right? So by forecasting, I'm not going to go into detail of that, I will do something else. So there are two methods or two approaches are there while you do time series forecasting. One I will discuss a little bit today. Two methods are there which is actually important in investment time series. One, as I told you, that you need to find out more information. So what I do, when you decompose the information, whatever the information is there, you try to decompose that and extract the information out of it. So we will have one approach for decomposition, right? Nothing but the extraction just now as I said. And another is based on the regression what you have learned. In the last few days we have learned about regression. So today's discussion is mostly based on regression so that we can understand. So another one is the regression what you have learned. Remember the regression what we are doing here will be something different. Because here all are dependent, remember, no independent as I said. So that will be a little different. So there are two sections. One is the decomposition so that you can get the information, and another is the regression. Based on that, you can do that. So there are two different methods and approaches through which we can approach to forecast from a time series data. When and how we can do it, gradually we can improve it. It requires a lot of understanding. But for a basic understanding, we start with this. So the decomposition methods are there, and then regression methods are there. So once again, a decomposition method, how to do it? It's a long time. We need almost 1.5 or 2 hours to complete it. So that will give you the simple few points. I'm not going to discuss on that. I'll discuss on the regression. For a time series data, when you decompose, time series have a different kind of elements into it. The time series data. It has trend into it. For example, time series data means what we can say that informing that these are all macroeconomic data, right? So, for example, GDP. For example, your Sensex data, BSE Nifty data. For example, the inflation data, gold rate data, or whatever it is, all macroeconomic data set is so called the time series. The idea is, if you want to know the time series that are very well, the one important aspect of the time series is you need to visualize the data. You have to see the data very well. Not numbers. You have to see. How to see? How you can see the data? How you can see the data? Plot it, then you can see the data. The moment you plot it, you will have a better idea of a time series data. What are the things are there? Now see, this is if you are plotting some sensitive data. And if you anytime you open it, the sensitive data will look like to be something like this. Right? Sometimes goes down, up and go. But if you look at it, say these are the time then. These are time. Here we measure the time. This is the time. So in between the time, so this is some year, this is some year, say time year, or maybe months, whatever time frame you take, that has to be fixed in a time series. So if you take these are the years, then you will find that some years goes down and then you will find out that at the beginning, say some year, say this is 2000, say for example. And say this is 2024. Say. So if you see, even if it goes up and goes down, but ultimately it is actually going up. So what kind of a trend it is? So any time series have a trend. It could be upward or downward or whatever may be. If you visualize it, you will find some kind of a trend into it. So the first thing in a time series when you decompose, there will be a trend. Then sometimes, not all the time series, there are different time series data. You will find some seasonality also. So what is seasonality? Which you find in a series where every season it comes back. Very simple. For example, if you look at the sales figure of a cold drinks seller or ice cream seller, you will find that it's very high during the summers. And after that it goes down during the winters. And then once again in the summers it increases. But if sales increases, even if I plot something like this, say then this time is what? Different seasons? This time has to be different season. Yearly cannot predict it. So say this is one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. Once again the next year quarter one like that way you can do it. So you will find in some quarter the sales is high, in some quarter sales is down. So some seasonal pattern would be there in the data set. But if the is a good company, the sales will be increasing every time. So you may find some product increasing, some product decreasing, some product increasing, but maybe is so what happens? It has the seasonal pattern as well as it has a trend. Sometimes you may not have a trend. Maybe some companies sales figure like this. Say some data set maybe. It doesn't have a trend, but it has a seasonality. Right? So you will find even the seasonality in a time series data. You may find trend in a time series data. You may find seasonality in a time series data. And also, you may also find irregularity in the time series data, which you cannot find out in any time. Like irregularity may come any time, irregularity you cannot predict. It's irregular absolutely. Right? So which we cannot understand. And the irregularity part you cannot predict. And therefore that we cannot predict. But in the series we may have. For example, if you look at the Sensex data, you will find in 2008, during Corona period, suddenly there is a break. So that's irregularity. But ultimately it has a trend, upward trend. So in time series data, you may find some irregularities also. So what are the see in a time series data, these components will always be data. Why is there? Because it will for a longer period of time you're taking a data. So you may find trend, you may find seasonality, you may find irregularity. So whenever I say that you need to decompose and you have to get information from the past, what does it mean? It means you will find some trend into the data, you will find some seasonality into the data, and you will find some irregularity into the data. So this information you will actually get it from that series. And once you have that series with you, that will actually can help you to understand the data. That how much trend is there, how much seasonality is there in the data, and how much irregularity is there. Now you need to control that. Then only you can decompose. Decompose means you can, if you know that information, based on information you can predict them. Because then you know that rate of trend, you know the rate of seasonality, irregularity can predict anything. So based on this, you can actually decompose and you can actually forecast it. There are methods are there in decomposition, right? We call it decomposition in two ways, additive model and multiplicative model. I'm not going to discuss that. So additive model is when you focus, you need to add all these trains, seasonality, irregularity means randomness, what suddenly come. That you need to add and then you can forecast. Why additive? You are actually adding it. Why adding it? I'm not going it. And another one is multiplicative model. Two different models are there where you need to don't add, you actually multiply all these and ultimately forecast. How exactly this to be done is a different discussion. We're not going to discuss it here, but remember. So in a time series, we call it trend T, S is the seasonality, I is the irregularity of that number, and in time series, everything because it's a time. So to predict at what time we write substitute of T with that. I'll come back to that later. So with this we actually use it by writing it. So this is what we do it in additive model and this is what we do it in the multiplicative model. Where once we add and once we multiply. When and all this is separate discussion, we are not going here because this is not our part of discussion. Okay, but just to know you, just to give you an idea that there is a decomposition method through which you can predict if you know all this information. Okay. So this is not our this is not going to be. So let's find out, come back to that regression where you must have some knowledge on that. Okay. So as I told you, the time series, now there may be a different kind of time series. You may have a single series. You may have a lot of different series. Right? You may have only one single series. You may have 2, 3 series. Right? So based on that, your methodology may change in time series. So in time series, we call it, if you have the single series, we call it univariate time series. If you have a single series, we call that univariate time series. What is that? A time series that consists of a single observation variable. With that, if you have to predict, then we call it a univariate time series analysis. Okay? Now, today whatever I do will based on this. some idea, there are a lot of means, some idea we develop on this. Okay? And another one what we have is a multivariate time series. This is an advanced level of time series. This is so-called the basic level time series, which I will share you some information. So this is the advanced multivariate, where you have more number of series, then you have a different methodologies. We call the vector auto-regressive model, vector recognition models, and other models. So we require 5-6 days to discuss. We are not going to discuss this, we are going to discuss this part. Right? Univariate time series. This is what we try to find out what is univariate time series. Okay? Now come back to the why it is univariate time series. One single variable, first of all, I want one single variable, right? So here the variables, you know, as I told you, all are dependent, right? All dependent means what happened? That their external variables are not available. It will explain your data set is not available. Or maybe external variables are not known. Sometimes many people use this. This is possible that you are getting a series because you are trying to predict something. But the problem is we do not know that what are the other variables which are actually having impact on that series. Theoretically, when you use something, for example, you have some series. Say for example the price of gold. You sometimes may not know what are the reasons why the prices of gold is changing. Right? Most of the cases it is not obvious, it's a market driven, but it's also with the regulations also. I increase the tax rate, income, and import duty, recently budget something has happened. So there are a lot of things because of some reason it changes. So you don't know what exactly is impacting. Since you don't know what exactly is impacting, therefore what you can do, I do not know what are the other variables. So I have only one univariate series. And based on that, how can I predict? How can I forecast? There are certain methods through which you can forecast also. So in univariate time series, whenever you have only single observation, only single one variable information you have, and how we can predict based on that is called univariate time series. That's what we try to understand out, right? So why it is univariate? Because we are only using a single variable while predicting this, right? As I told you, probably you may not have a theory, you do not have the understanding. I don't know what are the other things are impacting. So since I don't understand it, the theory is not there, so I'm using only single. That may be a reason, right? So there may be some other reason that why I'm using it. So the only available information is the past values of that information, right? Only the past values. For example, the inflation data set impacts a lot of things, but what exactly is impacting, I don't know. Right? Theoretically, there are a lot of things are there, but what exactly is impacting, I don't know. So therefore, I cannot predict what would be the inflation. I may only suggestively can say that these are the reasons for that there may be a possibility my inflation is going to go up in the next quarter or the next month or the next week, but I don't know exactly what are the basic fundamental reasons for which the inflation is going to be changed in the next week. And if I don't know, then we are supposed to use one particular method, is so-called method, through which we can predict that, okay, fine, if I know the past values of my inflation, then what I can do is that I can predict what will happen in the next 3 months or next 6 months.
So, if a new process is happening, then is it possible to forecast the
So I say, need the past values. So unless and until you know for example, the past values, I cannot predict. For example, though it is very difficult, can anyone tell me which is the most difficult thing to predict? Huh?
Weather.
Weather, yeah, it's an important one. Yes, acceptable. But now, because of more information we have about the weather, so we can. Our prediction rate error has come down.
stock market? The stock market?
Even we can predict stock market. The ultimate is that we cannot predict the human being. There is no theory. Right? So there is no theory. The human behavior cannot be predicted. Right? It can change any time. So we have only one series where you can know if somebody is past information that will give you an erroneous result. You cannot predict. So therefore, that's what if you do not have a theory back on that, you cannot use a measurement. You must know that what kind of theory you are backing it to predict what is your objective. And therefore, what kind of data set you are going to use is important. And that's what I started the discussion that you must know what kind of data set you are using and how exactly. And therefore, if you don't know anything about something, the only information what you have is the past value. Right? I can predict her or him or anyone else only when, though it is not possible as I told you. Anything else is that the idea is when you know from the past, and that's why we need character certificate. Somehow to predict it, I know him for the last these many years, so he or she is good at this, and that's why he is the character certificate. Nothing but the numeric time series. Right? Nothing but the numeric time series. Right? So this is how exactly it works. Right? And once it is there, so we have only the past value. And we can the past value only, we can predict something. Is that clear? So this is what we do. Okay? Say that gold rates and some other things what we are discussing. This we can actually predict because we do not know the other method. We do not have much of understanding of the theory. Right? So do that. What are the methods? So there are few methods are there in time series. So the few methods in the time series are there. Right? One of them is an auto-regressive model. Okay? Auto-regressive model, now before I get into the time series, let's first to understand the basic thing. You understand the auto-regressive by using this. Now as I told you that it is always going to be from the past data, right? So, you have the idea of training and testing? Which we discussed. Training and testing data. Say, I'm trying to find forecasting something for the past information. So it is like, I'm trying to forecast Y, anything, Y could be sales, anything. Now Y, based on what? I don't have any information. So generally the equation is what? Y is actually dependent on function of say X. This is what we have learned throughout our life. This is what we have learned. The problem is Y is dependent, this is independent. The problem is here, this is not there. Time series we do not have. What we have? Y. We have the Y only. We do not have X. Since we do not have X, then the problem. Now what we can do in that case? So what we can do? Our idea is we want to predict tomorrow. Yes, that's what we try to do. We want to predict tomorrow. So the Y, we said in time series as written T time. So we are trying to predict tomorrow. YT means T we write so tomorrow. Function of Y today. This let me know. Function of Y yesterday. Y day before yesterday. So on. This we can know. Yes or no? So this we can write very simply Y T today. Yesterday, Y T minus 1. Easily? Y T minus 2. Actually, if you go to the books or anything, it is actually written like this. It is nothing but this idea. Only this. Okay? So this we can write. The problem is we have a data till today. We do not have a data for tomorrow. Right? But we need some kind of a
Sir, can it be infinite?
Go back.
T minus 1, minus 2.
Like that. So you must have a data set, right?
Yes.
So where it ends, you go. If you have n, that's why it's like at the end, it could be y is minus 2, so y n. N, you find out what is the n.
It is like a recursive relation.
Right? Yes. That's why I didn't went to that decomposition one. There I could have explained that, but I'm not going to go there. So it's like up to that you can go there. Right? So the more information, as I started with, the more information you have, so the more you can decompose from it. The more you can decompose, actually you can predict. Right? So this is what we can do. The problem is we have a time up to, we know information up to this. We don't know, we know, but we don't know tomorrow. But we need something, a model, through which we can predict. So what we can do, very simple way, just to make you understand before I get into it, is that, okay fine, we don't know this, but we have this, so why don't we predict today based on this, right? So formally, same concept we can write it this way. As a constant, the model you have this from the basic model, constant beta naught plus some coefficient of that p minus 1, p minus 2, and how many lakhs you want up to p lakh, and some error will come because you are predicting based on only one data, some error will be there, this with epsilon t. Right? So this is for the formal way of writing the air model. Is that fine? Less of formality, just to try to understand. Is that fine for everyone? Right? So this is what we do in auto-recursive mode. Right? Now we have another model called moving average model. Correct? So we have two models, auto-recursive and a moving average model.
Sir, how do you find out beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, beta 0?
It's a coefficient.
Method to find out.
Regression coefficient.
It's not a method actually. Right? You know the regression model, right? But the regression model. Y is a okay. A plus bx or whatever you like, the way you write, I don't know how many you will. A is a constant. You know the thing. What is the equation of a straight line?
X plus sync.
This two. This beta is what? That beta. And this A is that constant beta. Constant. Nothing we have introduced new. Just trying to introduce the concept. The same equation we are using. Basic function. So we are using the same function. We are not using anything else. Now come to the moving average. Now as I told you that from the past information you can find out the results. Right? Say you are predicting sales. Right? So now let's say go on from same places. Different places. Where you go for your lunch or snacks, your locality, the shops are available. Well, what kind of shop? Huh? Canteen. Display. Tell me what you eat in any one point. Anyone. What do you eat?
Fried rice.
Okay, fine. Rice now. So there is a canteen. Biryani. Somebody says biryani. Somebody says biryani. So that's a biryani. Now the canteen owner is running the biryani shop where you go and eat. Now the problem is the canteen owner is running and canteen owner says that today I make 40 plates of biryani. I'll be able to sell. Right? So yesterday he actually sold say 38 plates. Yes, he said, okay, sales is coming up, let's prepare it. Right? And this is what your, this page is what your wife sales figure. Okay? So he said he actually prepared something and sold it. So that's one information with you, and later on let's come back how the shop owner is actually doing it. So information, I'm just giving you that information. So that you can understand how exactly this thing works. Now, if the same shopkeeper understands, tomorrow I want to sell once again a 40 plate. So let's prepare for 40 plates. So he prepared 40 plates of biryani. And after preparing 40 plates of biryani, he prepares the 40 plates of biryani. But he could sell today only 35 plates. So what is your error of prediction? Good. His error in this is fine. Fine. Let's say he thinks, I could not sell, let's make 35. It's difficult. Otherwise I will have loss. It's difficult. So he made 35 plays next day. Right. And suddenly, the demand has increased after Mohanty, for 42 people came. So we have only, so you could serve only. Is error once again? Yes. Similarly, like that way. So what you can learn, these are the sales figures. But every day there are some. So we can learn to predict not only from the sales figure, but also from the error. Correct? So the moment we know that we have an error, so we can learn something from the error. This moving average says that if we can predict something based on error, then what would be? It's a good thing, right? Not only the first time. So what we said, not accuracy, it's only single quantity. The MA model says we can predict also based on the error. Not only the sales figure, but based on the error. So the MA model says that in the MA model, YT means your sales figure, what you're trying to predict, is actually dependent on the errors. Every day what you're making. What's the point? So error is epsilon t got me a site, you can give it with any number, any name. Name is doesn't matter, A, B, Y, say, X, Y, Z, whatever you give, it's the same thing. So we can write in that formula like this. Y is dependent upon function of all the error. Epsilon 1 means the yesterday's error, day before yesterday's error, after that error. Based on that we can write. Yes or no? This is what the MA model says in time series. We can not only learn from the sales figure or the gain dependent, we can also learn from the error. That will be very useful. And this, remember this error follows a white noise. What is white noise? I'm coming back. But error means to be a white noise. White noise means it should be stationary. Now this concept is very new to you. So let me explain that what is stationary before getting into the software. So white noise process. White noise process means, I'll give you one more example. Okay, white, first you understand and then I'll give you an example from the It means the sellers, error means this stores error information, that series, the white noise if it's completely in random in nature. What does it mean? It means that the series has this, mean of that series will be 0, the variance will be constant. Okay? Write this to your ground correlation and other things. Let me give an example of that so that you can understand. How many of you have done ECG? Or you have seen the ECG reports? You have seen it? You know what? The doctors are not doing anything. They actually analyze the time series. What they do? The ECG report is generally this. Right? So even if it goes back, it comes, your mean is this. Even if it goes back, your mean comes back to this. It goes here, it goes up. Ultimately, what if you deduct this, it is 0. So even if you do that, if your mean will come back to here. And this is the variance of the two periods. It is constant. What doctors do in their ECG report, is there any change into this pattern or not? If this is high, there is a problem. If this variance is high, there is a problem. If it is fine constant, your heart is absolutely okay. So the doctors actually does only this, nothing else. So you can also read the ECG report, no problem. If there is a problem, then that's what the time is. Nothing else. Doctors actually change the time series. If there is a change into it, then there is a problem. Otherwise, it's fine. So,
Sir, I have a question. The data taken into consideration. If there is an error in there, the whole thing will be regarding the history of the time series. If something happens, if something happens to the person and the ECG is taken immediately, the figure that comes, the report that comes, and by chance, due to lack of translation or something happens, it is taken after 4 hours or 5 hours, definitely there will be a change in the pattern.
medical thing I cannot say. I can tell you only the methods. That you ask a doctor. Please go to ask a doctor. I can only say what the methods are. And I cannot. we are, so it has to be a white noise, right? That means there has to be stationary. I'll come back to the stationary later. So the moving average model, what we can write, like this one, for the errors. Previously we write the sense figure, now we can write the errors. Same thing. Okay. Now remember in moving average, in auto regressive we use the p-value. How many errors this time you require to predict it, it will depend. See, it's a nomenclature, in a sense it's a way of their writing. They write it in P, started somewhere, and that's why we still writing P. Right? So because they are writing P, we are also writing P. It doesn't mean it has to be P. It doesn't mean it has to be. Here they write it with a Q. Right? So this is the same equation.
What is that fine?
Instead of beta, you are writing something. You want to write something else? You can write. Constant. Sorry, this is not coefficient. This is a constant. These are because it's a this is the error means the last error what we said, and these are all coefficients. You can write it phi. You can write anything else. Asterisk. Anything.
So these are phi 1, phi 2.
The model. You can write anything.
5-1, 5-2, 5-2.
I don't know when and how these all Greek marks, these letters are introduced in this kind of model. You can write anything. You can make a band dancing as a symbol. It is accepted and done, no problem. This is just a notation of writing the coefficient. Last time we wrote beta, this time we are writing phi. You can write anything. Right? You can write theta. Okay. Now, as I told you that how many times that it is required will depend on the Q. If you require 3 errors, then it's a MA 3 model. Okay? And once again, the error has to be the white noise, as I told you, that has to be done. Done? Okay, the concept is clear? Yeah.
12:30.
I cannot show you because it's already.
So 12:40. Sir, কতক্ষণ লাগবে? Half an hour?
Really, I need another half an hour.
Half an hour. Okay, sir. No issues.
But then the software no.
Oh, আচ্ছা এটাই মাত্র।
What it knows that is fine. So we have one more thing to know. I'll show you something. So this is MA model. So there is another called ARMA model, where you not only use the AR, the sense figure, you also use the error. You club together and then you try to predict. So you don't have a time. So we can write this two club together. You can write this. And here ARMA model depends on P and Q. That's how many lakhs of AR and how many lakhs of error. It could be 1-1 model, it could be 2-3 model, it could be 1-3 model, any model would be fine. Right? So this is one category. But important is stationarity, which I'll show you. I'm not going to discuss it here, which I'll show you in the software so that you can understand. Because the time, I'll show it in the software. This is going to be, this I'll show you in the software. There is another model called ARIMA. So what is ARIMA? We know AR model, we know MA model, and we know ARMA model. The problem is with the data series. If the data series is not stationary, then we have to make the data series stationary, and then only we can predict. And what is stationary? I will come back because we have a less time. So stationary means that generally to make it non-stationary data into stationary, we need to differentiate the data from the past values, right? So how many times we have to differentiate based on that stationary depends. So based on that it changes. So how many times generally if you differentiate one past value from the next one, so we do it for the one summit. So we call it integrated of one model, I. So in this case is 1. If you have to differentiate twice, we call it 2. So that I in ARIMA model is nothing but how many times the data has been differentiated to get the stationary transformed into stationary. Right? The moment it's a non-stationary data, you cannot use AR, MA or AMA model. Then you have to use it ARIMA model. And most of the macroeconomic data are non-stationary. You have to convert it into stationary. And therefore, most of the macroeconomic data we have to use the ARIMA model. Okay? That's what you have to do. So, in that case, how many times we have to, it is independent of order, that we have to understand with the help of how many times we have to do it. If it's a 1, for example, this model could be 1, 1, 1, it could be 1, 1, 2, it could be 2, 1, 1, so anything can happen. So, how many times, it could be, you are not using error with 0. So, 0, 1, 1 would be a model. So, what kind of model it is based on the, it is given, it's a trial and error method. The method is given by the Box Jenkins in 1970. It has a certain way of, if this happens, we can use it. I'll show you that. Then you can use this particular model or that particular model. Then if it's an animal, then you can go in. Time is not there. You need another 2 hours. But I'll show you later. Okay? So to Box Jenkins model, we can actually find out that which model of animal we can select. And that selection would actually you can predict, okay, fine, I'm going to use this model and you can conduct the animal test. So I'll show you how to do that in animal here. Okay? So once again for stationarity, as I told you, how many times you have to differentiate to get the independence. So here model, this model, and this I here in between, remember it is given by P and that was Q. And this is denoted by differentiation, so it is denoted by D. Okay? And how to get it? So you have to find out, identify, then you have to estimate based on that, then you have to diagnostic checking whether it is a correct or not, and then based on that you have to focus. This is the Edinburgh Box Jenkins actually has given in 1970. He has given this way of doing it. So let me show you that. I don't want to, but there are certain things which you need to know. But then I'll show you in the software so that you can understand. Go back. I have one data set. Let's take I have a see, this is the data set. I have a data of inflation, wholesale pricing. It's a real data set. Okay. From May 17, it's a monthly data. You understand? It's a monthly data. From the RBI I have taken. It's a original data. Okay. Up to March 23, I have a process by index is here. WTI is good. So let me predict this. How to do that? Okay. So you can open it, the reviews. What we can do is that we can import directly, or we can make the file also. So in that case, let me do it fast, so let me import. So what we have to do? So I have this dialog box open. Here let me do this file is there. Click there, this dialog box open. You have to do it manually. Then if it is a monthly, then you have to select here from here monthly. Start date is what? May? Right here open May 2017 until March. It is also they will take. Fine. Okay, you click the box. Which is I'm doing it manually. You can import it easily also. If our data set is ready, you can import it. But I'm doing it manually, you can understand. So this will come. Now we have to actually create a file. Well, so to create a file, what we can do, we can go to the quick series, you can do it, you can go to option, you can check all these things. So here what we have to do, we have to generate a series. one series of WPI. What we can do. So here there are a lot of ways we can do it. You can go to the object, generate series. Generate series. You can give it name and it will create something. Because sample size is given here that we already said. If I give a name WPI, click OK, it will create. Oh, sorry.
Let's see. Let's see.
Let's see. So, what you want to do? You want to create a series. So here it is. Here it is series. Here it is series. Correct? And you can give a name of the series. Here it is series. That's what we are doing. Click OK. Series will be created. If you open it, the series will be created only this many of the 71 that time frame what we have done. So double click, it will open. So see, it is from main to up to that. This image is already made. Now, how to you can copy and paste it. So here there is a small called edit this. You click it edit. Now you can edit this. Now you can minimize it. Go back to your data set. If you make manually, you can import this template easily import. So now what we can do? This is already been set there. So let me copy this. Right click. My data set is ready. Correct. Now, as I told you, you visualize the data. Understand a series is already visualized. Check it. So if you go to the view graph, click there. Line. I want to see the line. Click OK. And look at how exactly the lines is. This data set. How exactly looking like? It has a trend, and it does not have a mean, constant mean. If you take up to this, mean will be somewhere here. If you take from here to here, mean will be somewhere here. So mean is not constant. Right? That means this is a very simply we can understand it's a non-stationary data. Right? To prove how whether it's a non-stationary data, mathematically you can check it. So the input test, which I have to show discussed it, but let me show you. And then we have to transform it so that we can use it in our prediction. So let me show you the unit root first, and then it's a really non-stationary or not. Because we can easily understand mean is not constant. The first condition is violent. So we can easily understand it's not, and it has a trend also. So let's go to the view and the unit root test. Standard unit root test, we will go with the label value means whatever the value like is there. Then the selection criteria, SIC is there, AIC. Don't need to know all the things. We take an intercept because it has an intercept in the graph, it will cut. Just click OK. Don't need to check anything else in this case, only check this probability. More than 0.5? Is that no? Yes. So that means you cannot reject the null hypothesis. Your null hypothesis is that WPI has a unit root. That means it has a unit root, it's a non-stationary. Since it's a non-stationary data, you cannot use for prediction. Since it's a non-stationary, you cannot use AR, MA, ARMA. So what you have to use? Very simple. So we know that what we have to use. So to predict this, only model available with us is the ARIMA model. So we have to use ARIMA, that's for sure, on the data itself. Now we are in ARIMA. Once we know that we are ARIMA and we understand this is non-stationary, let's say that if we differentiate, it becomes stationary or not. Go to view, input is standard input is first difference. And then difference first. Click OK. Now check your probability. As the input root, you can easily reject. So if you first difference, then the data will become stationary. Then view graph. view graph. I'll show you from here. Once I difference, then I'll show you how exactly to do it. So we know that we need to test, if you do that, difference is going to be stationary. So anima I is 1. But the problem is we don't know what would be A, R model, A, the number, B I don't know, Q I don't know. D I know 1. Now I have to select what would be the AR and MA. That we know that emotion. That I have to find. How to do that? To do that, we have to already inform that it depends on the box density model. The box and Jenkins has given some idea how to do that. So the idea is if you look at you have to go to the correlation function. SCA and PCA. With that only you can actually understand. So if you go to the view and go to the parallelogram, at the level on only you have to check out the first difference. You click OK. Now there are different things what we have to check from there. If it's suddenly 1 and after that it goes, then it's generally shows AR1 and the auto correlation is for MA1, MA and this partial correlation for AR. Now, this it signifies, it dampens easily. If you go that, it will take it, it's very low. After that, it goes down very significantly, the correlation function. It signifies that, obviously, it's a AR1 we can understand, but it's a MA1 or not, we don't know, because it's a MA relationship is there. So, we have to find out which one is to be there. AR1 we understand, but MA1 we don't. So if you check the same thing once again in parallelogram, first difference. Now difference data means integrated data versus stationary data. Once you click OK, they will find most of the data set are falling within the range, right? And probability you can see it's significant, but you can find only one first data. The first lag is out of the your bound, right? Whatever the bound is there in correlation. That one is it is for the AR1 and this is for MA1. So we can understand one integrated from here. At least we can say there is a possibility. I'm not saying yes. There is a possibility that this could be an ANIMA model of 111. AR1 indicated of 1 and MA1. But there is also a possibility that another one is very close. You can see. So it could be an AR for 112 model. AR1 indicated 1, but MA2 model also. But box Jenkins said it is a trial and error method, we find out which one is best. Correct? So to do that, we have to actually find out which model gives us the better result. Right? So if you have to perform it, let's go back to the quick estimate equation. Now we are estimating equation. Now what we have to do? Difference data, not the WPI data. So in views we can write D means the difference is here. What data? Which data we are differencing? This WPI sequence. Close. Space C is a constant. Then we have AR111. We can write AR1 dash. This is AR111. Okay. You can click OK. Remember here method is least square. Once again based on this regression kind of thing. This is the least square method. What you have already learned. Click OK to get the result. Now here I'm not going to discuss it right now. Just take it. Freeze it. We have this data. I'll discuss it later. But we have another possibility of here AR1, 2 model. So let's make it another one. Go to quick estimate equation. WPI C1. Correct? We can get this. Okay. Now find out which one is better. Which one is better? That we have to find. So which one is better? There is a criteria to select. First criteria is your P has to be significant, the basic start, right? And if you look at this two is the older one, uh, very close to 0.5 but not exactly. These two, constant has to be, right? Constant is fine, but these two are not. But here you find at least 5 and this is also significant, right? So this I see is 3.0216, 3.0 not 21, lesser, one way of looking at it. One way, why not going to discuss it now. This one way of looking at it. This is one the most important these two parameters, right? And another parameter what we can actually look at is that even sometimes we look at, sometimes we don't know, but we also check the probabilities of the BF statistics, also we can look at it. But for the time being here in these two models, we can predict it better. We have to check some other things also. So we found that the AR 112 model is better than AR 111 model. So we are not going to use it. We are going to use this model to predict or to forecast. Now to forecast, first we say this one. Maybe that this is AR1, maybe 2 model. This is what we are going to use. Okay. This is the model. This model is already we have. And this also I name it. This also we have. Now we are going to use AR1 image model. So I am opening that one. Double click, you can open the same. Now I have to forecast. I am using this model to forecast my WPI. So to do that forecast, right? I have to go to the forecast page. So click the forecast. I will do it here. But before that, what you want to forecast? That we have to manage. So here is a range. If you go to the carbon and double click it, that will come back to you. Now, what you are going to forecast? You have to increase the series. So what you are going to forecast that from 23 this is what the last date. So you are going to forecast after that. So let me increase it to 24. 1 year we have to say. So I think okay. Besides, yes. Now if you open this WPI, you go to this spreadsheet, you can see that now we have added one more year which we have going to focus. The whole sales added it. Okay, that we have to see. Okay. Now go back to this model. That model where we use it. Now focus. Now you have to focus same old WPI, right? Now you have to focus the same thing, same focus. Okay. Now here the focus rate we have to select. Remember we started forecasting next 12 months. So which one we are forecasting? We are going to forecast 23 up to 3 years there. So we will forecast 23 4. After that, 24 okay, that's the range we are going to focus. So we have focus sample we are given. This is what we are going to focus. Once you have selected this, click OK. This focus. Okay, and you can see another focusing that is already created. So if you click in that, you have seen it is already focusing the PDF what you want. Now, you want to check focus is done. But we have to check some other parameters. So we need to check the receivables of the errors. Error is fine or not, that we have to check. So there's a few statistics we can use it. So you go to the view, go to the receivable diagnostic, go to the receivable statistics. If you look at these lags, you need to know how many lags. You can automatically select 36. Generally, 40% or 25% minimum, at least 40%, 50% you should add the lags. So that you can actually know the number of you are taking more lags so that the prediction is correct. So I'm taking whatever is by default is given, click OK. You will find it here, statistics. All are within the range. And this, remember, here you may say why it is high, that is more than 5%. our null hypothesis is why it is white noise. Remember, errors are white noise. White noise means say here it is white noise. So
No, that should
we should not reject the null hypothesis. White noise means we should not reject the null hypothesis. We cannot reject the null hypothesis because p values are much higher. That means it's a white noise. Correct? That means it's a white noise. So we can easily say these errors are white noise. So the mean is 0, so we can easily understand. We also need to check the structure of this. So we call it ARMA structure. So we go here, residual diagnostic. Here also we can check it, or we can check it to the ARMA structure. We go there, roots we can check. Okay, just for understanding. You can say this root for understanding. I don't want to explain it right now. This has to be within the circle. So your AR root and image root has to be within the circle so that your structure is right or not. To check it, theoretical basis is there that we cannot discuss it right now. So these are within that. So we can say our this predictive model is correct. Through this we can predict, and we already have predicted. So that means the model what we have set forward is correct. There is no wrong in the model. So we have already predicted. So let me show you that these two things together as group. So if you look at this is the old one and this is the new one predicted. So if you look at the old one we wanted to predict here and that we have predicted here. Okay? So if you do that and make a graph, here we have predicted. Right? Here we have predicted what will be the next WPI. This is overlapping. I will show you one more way to look at. This is what up to 23, after that to 2004, we have actually have. That is based on now decomposition need to be known that we have discussed. So based on that ARIMA model, the prediction of this data set is already with you. Prediction of the WPI is given us. So we can use also ARIMA model to predict in a single series. We can actually forecast. This is how we can actually forecast. This actually takes almost 3 hours or 4 hours of class. So actually a whole day required to completely set up to understand this. If you really would like to learn time series in January, this department will be conducting one 5-day time series workshop here for 5 days. Things will be advertised very soon. So that we have 5 days only on time series or nothing. Because it requires this we need to discuss decomposition, then this, and then one by one multivariate and everything will be discussed. And there are a lot of other complications are also there, like March, and everything. So only a time series module for 5 days will be there. Anyway, for this structure, this is how we can use the ARIMA model in the actual. Okay?